Well, some wins just feel better than others. Your Iowa Hawkeye men defeating Nebraska, the 10th or the 9th ranked Huskers by a final count of 57-52 inside Carver-Hawkeye Arena late on this Tuesday evening. We are here to talk about it for the next hour or so, and we're going to be joined here the first segment with by former Iowa assistant coach Gary Close. Before we get to Gary, and of course your calls, your comments, everything this show entails, a big thank you to our great sponsors over in Iowa City, but they're also located in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and now Omaha. Big Grove Brewery, the official craft brewery of the Hawkeyes and the official watch party headquarters of your Hawkeyes. I'm sure there was a great crowd there at the Iowa City Tap Room. Check out their locations at biggrove.com and peruse their menu. They got great food and great beer. It's all fantastic. Big Grove Brewery, the official craft beer of your Iowa Hawkeyes. Also, big thank you, as always, here in the postgame show to Brad Van Meter and his State Farm team. Be sure you call Brad first thing tomorrow morning to see how he can help you save great loads of money on insurance, whether we're talking auto insurance, health insurance. He can help you with basically everything, life insurance. He'll direct you where you need to go to make sure you and your family are covered with the right policy for the right price. Brad Van Meter and his State Farm team in Des Moines. Call him at 515-256-6480. 515-256-6480. You can visit him online at bradvanmeter.com. Well, at this time, we want to welcome in a very sleepy Coach Gary Close.
No, I'm not sleepy.
See, I crack myself.
I get to sleep, but I'm not sleepy.
Well, Gary, hey, this is good. Tell you, this is a fun time to be with you here.
Good win.
Boy, they needed this win. They needed it drastically after what happened Saturday. You and I were both in Iowa City for that that game against Purdue. We recapped that one when it went final, and now we got a game that looked totally different from a lot of facets. 57-52, the final. Give us your initial reaction. Court Storm, quad one victory, and first real resume building win for Ben McCollum.
Yeah. No, I think you touched on everything right there. I thought their defense was very good. We talked about, they're getting beat off the dribble. It didn't happen as much in this game, hardly at all. Their 3-point defense was terrific. Nebraska's a good 3-point shooting team, and they really struggled. And then I think the rebounding. I think they were very physical, and they did a great job on the boards, and so that usually can add up to a chance to win. And they made enough plays. Sturts made enough plays to find a way to win. So really, really good win.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at the stat rankings here in the Big Ten Conference. And just so people are aware, Nebraska in scoring offense, they're averaging 79.4 points per game. So they're top 8 in the league in scoring. You brought up not allowing dribble penetration and making it really hard on their 3-point shooters. Of course, at the top of that list would be former Hawkeye Price Sandfort. And that really brings us to our player of the game. I mean, say what you want about the stats. He was 8 of 22, but this was maybe one of Bennett Sturtz's most impressive games just on both ends of the floor. I mean, he just working his tail off. What can you say about the future first-round draft pick?
Yeah, no, he was really good at both ends, and that's what you need especially when you've struggled a little bit. You need your best players to step up, and a gutsy performance. He really he did a lot of good things out there and carried them, and big part of their win.
Nebraska, the 4th highest 3-point percentage team in this conference. They made just 5 of their 24 attempts. He was, I know this was a big game from a persona perspective and just everything that the rivalry between Iowa and Nebraska. You have the connection with Price having left Iowa, going to Nebraska. You have Fred Hoiberg, who Iowa fans have respect for, but he's always coached or played for a rival. So there was a lot of heat with this building, and then of course the fact that they're coming off 2 straight losses and the way they lost Saturday. What was the key to containing Price Sandfort, a guy that I thought could have either gone off or been shut down? He had a decent performance, but Iowa really kept him in check.
Yeah, they they were alert to where he was. He didn't get very many open looks. The shots he made were, for the most part, tough shots. So I thought they listened to the scouting report real well, and were right on his tail, and didn't give him many open looks, and didn't allow him to get started. Those shooters get started, and then it's hard to stop them. So he never really got rolling, and their defense deserves credit for that.
What can you say about Iowa on the glass today after being hurt against a big Purdue team last time out? Iowa was plus 13 on the boards.
Yeah, no, very active and aggressive and physical, and your defense is only as good as your rebounding at the end. You can play great defense, but you can't get the rebound, then they're going to play it again for another set of seconds. So no, I thought especially early they dominated, and that I thought that sent a message that it's going to be a tough night on the boards.
It sure was. And as I was talking about Price Sandfort, I looked down at the box score. He was the leading scorer for Nebraska tonight with 13 points. No one scored more than 13. Lawrence had 11. Mast had 8. There was a period of time early in that second half where it looked like Nebraska was starting to get the ball inside a little bit too much, and they erased what was a 10-point lead. You knew it was going to be a game of runs, and great teams make runs even on the road. Mm-hmm. So that shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody. It certainly wasn't a surprise to Ben McCollum. But what did you see from Iowa rallying at that point? Because Nebraska did briefly take the lead in that second half.
Yeah, well, they kept their composure. Sturts made some plays, and they stuck to their defensive principles. They kept rebounding. They just like you said, good teams are going to make a run. Let's not go crazy. Let's just fight our way back in what we were doing before. And to their credit, they did. So I thought it was made the win even more impressive when you think that they lost the lead and then got it back and won the game.
Doug brings up 10 rebounds for Banks, and you
Very
brought up,
active.
just rebounding in general, 6 offensive rebounds for Iowa in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just interesting, Gary, because, again, just a couple of days ago, it was Saturday inside Carver, you and I were talking about how almost reserved Iowa seemed around the rim. I mean, part of that is size can get in your head early, and, you get a couple of shots deflected or blocked. Now, Nebraska matchup-wise, I would guess you'd say from a size perspective matches up better. Iowa can deal with that better. But what's the key mentally to bouncing back from a performance where you got your butt kicked and their size really haunted you? What's the key to bouncing back from that?
Well, I think you just got to, you got to understand what you're going through. Purdue's a real good team, and you didn't play real well. It wasn't a lack of effort. It was just you got beat by a real good team. Okay, now what do we need to do to get better? Okay, we got to rebound better. We got to defend the 3 better. We got to move our feet better. I thought it was as well as they've moved their feet in a long time in terms of cutting angles off. And Nebraska's a tough team to guard. They might be a tougher team to guard than Purdue. They're a really good offensive team, and to hold them to what you said, to the points they held them, that was a big reason why they won. But like I said, you got to get the rebound to finish the defensive possession, and they were able to do that in addition to getting some offensive rebounds to extend their own possession. So I just thought they were, much. Well, I don't want to say much, but they were more aggressive, and I think they realized where they fell short in the Purdue game, and the good news is they had another opportunity to beat a good team, and they did.
VMS with the super chat. Thank you, VMS. Back-to-back wins over Nebraska by Iowa basketball. Let's remind them that they're a volleyball school now. I was just talking about that earlier today with someone, Gary, that they're all of a sudden a basketball school because, obviously they're really good in basketball and wrestling and volleyball, but they can't seem to get the football team in check. But, boy, it's a really impressive win for Iowa. And you were very complimentary of Rink Mast heading into this game, but he was just 4 of 10, didn't make a 3, did have 8 on the glass. What was the key to keeping him in check besides foul trouble? He finished the game with 4.
Yeah, he hasn't seemed to be. He got off such a great start this year, and then he got hurt or sick. I can't remember. It was one or the other, and he just hasn't really quite gotten back to where he was. Because boy, there was a stretch there where he was really tearing it up, and I don't know if he's had that since then. So they kept him off the glass. They identified him from 3. He's a good 3-point shooting team. So I think, like we talked about earlier, I think they paid attention to the scouting report and followed it well.
This comment I love, Linda in the chat. She brings up Ben being in the mix with the students, the court storm there at the end. And part of that might just be when you have a younger coach, it's a little easier to, get in the center of that.
Those older coaches can't get hurt, and that's the problem.
So that was going to be my next question, Gary. I have admiration for what Fran gave to Iowa. I've said that before. Steve Alford was a different kind of cat. Todd Licklider was a different kind of cat. It's been a while since you had a coach who is in position to really connect with the student body. And it was so great to see that student body. I know you're not supposed to storm the court, but who cares? I think it's just great to see that scene at the end and much more to come. But what can you say about Ben McCollum tonight and just what he was at? You talk about defense. I mean, his numbers, we gave some numbers the last show over the last month. They've been, you could say, bad defensively.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard his reaction, but I know Kyle shared it with us, and I watched it back later. He was really surprised when he heard that stat. And this looked like a totally different defensive team tonight.
Yeah, I think they've spent some time on that between the last game and here to shore it up. I think you're right. I think they had dropped off a little bit. And sometimes when you play lesser teams, you can get away with not playing your best. And then until you play somebody that's good and exposes you, you don't find out exactly what. I mean, you can give up dribble penetration, but if you outscore some team, then it doesn't really hit home until it costs you. And so I thought from a defense standpoint, that was as well as they played in a while. So you can tell it's a job that he really wanted, and he is comfortable with, and you know, it's his dream job, so to speak, and that's cool. I think the fans will appreciate that.
You talk about improvement, Gary. Where did it start tonight? Was it Sturtz's energy? Was it getting on the glass early? Was it just hustle? Where did it start? Was it not giving up dribble penetration?
I think it was that. I thought they were much more aggressive on the ball without just getting blown by. You know, if you're aggressive on the ball and other people drive around you, that doesn't do you any good. But I thought they really got after it. Were very aggressive without fouling, and kept, for the most part, kept their player in front of them.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the official final box score from Iowa to be posted, but I'll give everybody the unofficial stats. Of course, Sturtz finished with 25 on 8 of 22 shooting. Let's see, second leading scorer for Iowa was actually Cooper Koch. He's the only other guy in double figures with 10, 4 on the glass, and Tavion Banks with 6. So it wasn't his best night offensively, but he did give them those 10 rebounds, and I thought really hustled, as he always does.
Yep.
And Maniau, I thought, really hustled. I mean, the numbers don't show. Yep. They just don't show what Cam Maniau gives you. And we saw the same thing. I thought Fulgaris played well, especially in that first half. You know, they're going to need him. We keep talking about it. Isaiah Howard hit a really big 3. Tate Sage gave up another bucket off of an inbounds play, but then responded with a nice putback off the glass himself. It was all hands on deck going 8 deep.
Yep. No,
let's go to our we got a couple minutes here with Gary. Let's go to our caller on the phone line. And thanks for calling Iowa Postgame with Coach Gary Close. Who do we got here? Welcome.
And
hello, we can hear the show in the background. You got us? You got our audio?
Official final box score.
Hello,
we got you. Can you turn down your TV for us?
I wasn't expecting to be on here, but great
you're the
game.
first one. You're leading off.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm usually number 4 hitter. But
okay, when you're not ready yet.
It's time.
4 on the glass.
So
are you able to turn down your TV for us, sir, so we don't hear the echo?
There we go.
Thank you.
Perfect.
What you got for Coach Close today?
It's a good looking hat.
Was there ever a more physical game? I can't remember players going down like this. Banks was tackled, and I didn't think he was going to make it. But he came back in later, and I think that was the big reason they won, is that they were just tougher.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a very physical game. Both teams needed it badly. You know, for Nebraska to stay in the race, they almost had to win this with the way Michigan's playing. And Iowa needed it for a lot of reasons too. So when you get two teams like that, it's going to be a war.
Yeah, and I agree with you, caller. Like that one play, first of all, I think the officiating was fine. Let's get that out of the way first. The officiating was fine. In fact, there were a couple of calls that went in Iowa's favor, Gary. That was brought up during the broadcast.
A big call at the end with that offensive foul on that screen. That was bad.
He wasn't leaning?
No.
I want to watch
For some reason now you can't set screens anymore.
Well,
I mean, people just run into screens and fall down, and it's a foul. It drives me crazy.
Are we sure he wasn't leaning?
No, that was it didn't look like it was leaning to me.
Okay.
That was a big call. It was a 3-point game.
It was a big call. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Good play by the defender. I can't remember who it was to draw it. I mean, that was a huge play.
Yeah, I thought it was obviously not a good call. I'm just like, what did he see there? Because he was clearly set, but if he's leaning in, but yeah.
Oh, I think he didn't see it until the end when the guy fell, and he reacted to the guy getting the call, which is a smart thing to do. It's like, a lot of times you're not going to get a charge unless you hit the ground, and the same thing there. A lot of times you're not going to get a call for a moving screen if you don't go down, and it was a smart play.
Was that an over and back call? Was that call the correct call?
I missed that one.
Okay. Caller, you know what I'm talking about. It looked like it got dribbled on the half court line twice, and they call it over and back on Nebraska. And I'm like, ooh, that one. But then you brought up the Tavion Banks play where he's got a rebound, it gets knocked out of his hands. And then when they're scrumming for it, he gets his bottom half gets taken out from under him. And I get it. It's a loose ball. It's a scrum. I thought that should have been a loose ball foul on Nebraska, but there were
Yeah.
There were calls both ways.
Both teams played hard.
Yep. Anything else, sir?
No, we're good. Go Hawks.
Absolutely. Thanks
Brad,
for calling.
thanks for the call.
Watching the show. Absolutely. Always love to hear from new callers. And
Yeah.
we got somebody here on Zoom, or excuse me, on Zoom. What am I? How late is it? Well, first of all, this person in the chat, Eric, who is one of our premium members, wants to know why Gary's up so late.
Hey,
We're going to probably
taking one for the team.
We're going to let Gary slide here in a minute, but let's go to our next caller. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Coach Gary Close. Who's on the line?
This is John.
Hey, John.
Storm Lake
Hi,
again.
John.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good after that win.
Good win.
The moving screen was, you're right, Gary, that was not a moving screen. And
Thank
it was
you.
Kurtz that took the hit and went down like a,
He made a smart
I
play.
don't know.
Yeah.
That's called smart. That's called Sturts.
Yeah. No, I agree totally. You get the call. It's a smart play. There's no question.
And he does,
Yeah,
and
but I mean,
real
he
quick,
was hustling like heck tonight. And I think his hustle, I think the guy wanted to call that. So that's why we got the call.
He also does a very good job. Sturts does a very good job taking charges. And there is a knack to that kind of thing, right, Gary? I mean, I think of guys like Aaron Kraft. You had a bunch of them at Nebraska. I think Ben Brust was pretty good at drawing charges at sometimes that didn't make me too happy, but your guys knew how to do it as well. So there is a knack to that, right, Gary?
Oh, yeah. No, and you got to be tough. Some guys don't like
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
charges.
Go. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Also, that was not an over and back.
I didn't think it was
That
either.
guy did not bring the ball across. It was a missed call on that one.
There were definitely missed calls.
But hey, those are key calls. I think that one was at the 5 or 6 minute mark. And of course, Gary, you're right. That last minute foul that went in our favor was just huge. I'm concerned about how stagnant our offense is. Especially, of course, the second half. It's just all Bennett in the second half, and a lot of it has to be Nebraska's defense, how they defended that pick and roll. But man, I'm really concerned. I love our intensity on defense tonight. This was a defensive team going into the season, but man, I'm a little concerned. It was a great matchup. We matched up against these guys. We didn't have a big giant underneath the basket that always got the offensive rebounds. So it was a great matchup for us. I think we'll look pretty good in Lincoln against these guys too. But man, our coach talks about next action on offense, and I don't see any answers right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. But it's, it is what it is, and you got to do what you got to do to win games. And right now it's Bennett Sturts, and you're just going to have to ride him and then hope some people step up. But there's not going to be any drastic changes this late in the year. I think they're going to go as far as he can take them.
And by the way, just for the record, just to be fair here, these were the two best teams in the Big Ten in scoring defense. So, I mean, just give credit to Iowa and credit to Nebraska, because both of these teams, from a scoring perspective, hold their opponents to, Iowa holds their opponents to 60. Oh, I hate the Big Ten website. It goes back and forth. They hold their opponents to 64.9 a game, Nebraska 66. So I agree with you, caller. And Gary, I want to piggyback that on for just a second. I brought up late game offense. It seems like as they go later in a half and they're trying to close a game out, they get more and more dependent on Bennett. And it just rarely works. I mean, he made a great play. In fact, Big Grove's big play of the day is Bennett Sturts pump faking and drawing a 3-point foul on Sam Hoiberg. It was massive. But at the same time, Gary, do you see that dependency late in games show up even more?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change much. I mean, he's your guy. I think it's the idea that if we're going to go down, I want to go down with the ball in his hands, and I get it.
I do too.
Now, that might change if somebody gets going or somebody gets hot, but I don't think so. I thought Nebraska's offense wasn't as good as it normally is, and I think Iowa deserves some credit for that. They're usually, they move the ball much quicker. I thought they did a lot of dribbling. And when you put pressure on the ball and can contain it, that forces teams to dribble. And I thought, their ball movement, which usually is really good, was not nearly as good. And I think Iowa deserves a lot of credit for that. I think it was their pressure on the ball that got them dribbling instead of passing.
You're right about that. And the way that you could see that in the first half, Nebraska did just a wonderful job going into this game against other teams where they backdoor other teams. And you could see in the first half, they were so locked in to defending everything, including that back door when you'd have that little dribble at the baseline from the side, and you'd see that pass going to the cutter from the baseline toward the basket. Iowa just never let any backdoors happen. You're right. The on-ball defense was critical tonight. That really is nice to see that we fixed that because, that's been
they're just not going to
win.
They're not going to win games down the stretch against the good teams without that. Gary, I mean, you just brought up the offensive limitations. If you're not playing good enough on-ball defense and you're giving up dribble penetration, you don't have size, you're going to have results like we saw Saturday. And this was how Iowa was winning games earlier in the year. That's why the numbers collectively still say that Iowa is a good defensive team.
Yep. No, I agree.
Anything else, John?
No, it's just interesting what you said there about the type of scoring. I didn't realize these are the two lowest scoring teams, especially with Iowa not doing so well on the defensive efficiency, but apparently they're still stacking up pretty good. So anyway, thanks, guys. Appreciate talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for calling.
All right, Gary, do you have time for one more call?
Sure.
All right, we're going to take one more call, and I'm going to save Doug for me. Doug's going to be sorely disappointed, but Doug can deal with it. So
yeah, Doug can deal with it.
All right, thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Coach Gary Close. Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Jake from Minneapolis.
Hey, Jake.
Jake, how's it going?
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling in.
It's not Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
It's not Jake.
It's been a while. I'm glad to be back on.
Disappointed, but Doug can deal with
great
it.
win.
So.
Yeah, Doug can deal with it.
Nebraska. One thing I have for you guys is you know the saying, like, give up a good shot for a great shot. I feel like so many times we do the opposite. Like, we give up a good shot, but we end up getting an okay or bad shot. Have you guys also noticed that during especially down the stretch? Have you guys noticed that as well?
Yeah, I've seen that at times. I agree. I think sometimes we're almost too unselfish, which is probably a nice problem to have. But no, I agree. I think it happened a couple of times where I think even Bennett a couple of times looked like he had an open three and then decided to, put it on the deck and took a tougher shot than the open three. So, yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that has happened a bit.
And is that partly a result of the system, the offensive system that McCollum runs, and how they are so predicated on crisp ball movement? And I mean, everything, it's not, I know things run through Bennett Sturts, but that ball's got to be popping when the offense is efficient.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they want to make the defense play defense, for a stretch and get a good shot. And in some cases, they miss some good shots early in the possession that probably would have been better than some of the late in the possession. It's a real fine line there. The last thing you want to do is go through the entire possession and heave up a bad shot, especially if you had a good one before that. But on the other hand, you don't want to take a quick bad shot. So that's where good offense is really important.
No, yeah, you bring up a good point. Is it's almost like a good problem to have because I don't know. There's just so many times that I watch and I'm just like, shoot the ball, because I'm used to Fran's offense where they kind of just run up the score. But
well, they just don't have they just don't have the shooters either. Can I just add that in? They just don't have enough of those guys. I mean, who do you want shooting contested threes, Gary, besides Bennett? There's really nobody. And even wide open threes, you're like, boy, will Tate Sage make it? I think Cooper's maybe the most. He's probably the guy that if he's got an open three, I feel the most comfortable with him shooting over anybody else on this team. Alvaro, he's had moments. I think he's capable.
Streaky. Yeah.
He's streaky. And, Isaiah Howard's hit some. Kale's hit some. Kale's in a funk. So, yeah, they just don't have the shooters right now, caller.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, their shooting is definitely not as good as it's been in the past. I still think though, like, I mean, you look at the end, we dribble down the shot clock and we chuck them up, and Manuel gets those big rebounds. Like, I don't know. I just think, like, if you have an open three, I think you got to take it, even if you're a below 40 or 35% 3-point shooter at this level.
Right.
Let it fly, man. Let it fly.
You brought up a good point, though. The longer you run the offense, the greater the chance you have of drawing fouls and the greater chance you have of getting offensive rebounds. The quicker you shoot, those numbers go down. So it's a fine line in there. You don't want to, you're 10, 15 seconds in, you got a wide open shot. You probably should be taking something like that, especially if you're playing against a good defensive team where you may not get another good one. But if you're going to err on a side of caution, it's probably better to err running more offense than less, because the other positives have got a better chance of happening, such as drawing fouls and getting offensive rebounds.
And boy, that really happened with that possession just under 2 minutes when Iowa got like 3 second chances on that possession, ran basically an entire minute off.
You play 35 seconds of defense, a few times in a row, you're gonna get worn down, and that's part of the game is trying to wear people down.
Seemed like there was just a lot. But I see the comment here from Cyhawk C Money on Hoiberg's son Sam. Seemed like because he's quick and he made plays tonight, but there was such an intent effort, and to see Tavion Banks, who's 6'7", guarding him down the stretch, there was such an effort to keep guys in front of him. And to your earlier point, Gary, it starts with that. So, caller, appreciate you calling in, sir, and please continue to join as we get closer to March.
Thanks for the call.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely.
You bet.
All right, folks, we're going to continue and do so without this guy because, Gary, I understand you have a long day in front of you tomorrow. So
yeah, I'm heading to the Low Country early in the morning. So, but I'm packed. I'm ready to go.
What does Low Country mean? What does that mean?
Oh, come on, Corey. You got to get with it a little bit. South Carolina is known for their Low Country. They call it the Low Country.
Do I have to call Jess and see if he'll fill in for you for like the next 3 weeks?
Oh, that's a good idea.
You going to be golfing?
Well, I'm on the DL, so I may not be able to play a whole lot of golf, but
you're still recovering.
Still recovering from a few surgery issues, but I'll be back soon.
All right. You're going to see your bride, right?
Oh, yeah. She's down there waiting for me.
All right.
Yep.
Well, Gary, appreciate you. I'm so glad we have this win to talk about. And
it's a great win. Great win.
Thanks for staying up late.
This up the NCAA tournament. And
I guess as a final note, I did want to ask you real quick, just quick thoughts on Michigan beating Purdue earlier today. Obviously a great game.
And as well as they did, that was impressive. Michigan might be turning into a 2-team race here with Michigan and Illinois. I tell you, I watched the game last night. Houston and Iowa State. I hate to say Iowa State. Wow, are they good? And
they just beat Kansas Saturday. They come back 2 days later.
You talk about guarding. Woo.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play those teams in the NCAA tournament.
Isn't it something that Iowa was in position to beat that Cyclone team a couple months ago?
Yeah, and that's
there in Hilton.
Yeah,
they were right there.
Yeah, they were. I mean, both teams were really good. I was impressed with both of them.
Yeah, and very well coached. TJ and Kelvin are both phenomenal head coaches. So
that's
all right, Coach. Travel safe. We'll hope to talk to you here soon.
All right, sounds good, Corey. You take care.
Thank you, sir. Coach Gary Close, as always, a pleasure to have on the show. We are continuing with your calls and your comments following Iowa's victory, but a big thank you to Brad Van Meter and his State Farm team in Des Moines. Call him at 515-256-6480, 515-256-6480 for the best insurance, best quote around. BradVanMeter.com, his Hawkeye team of State Farm agents. Brad Van Meter down on Fleur Drive, his State Farm office in Des Moines. All right, we'll go back to our phone line. We've got Doug, who's been patiently waiting. Doug, I had to give a little bit of grace to some of our first-time callers, so I knew you would not care, and we appreciate you being patient. I appreciate you being patient.
Well, I don't know. After this last week, I've been pretty pity about some things, but Iowa won today, so
you had to feel pretty good. You can't possibly like Nebraska.
I like Fred.
You do like Fred. Well, that's because you're.
I have a Fred
County,
Hoiberg story I'd actually love to share, but kind of want to share it when Coach Close is here.
Sure.
I got to meet Fred my senior year of high school, and trust me, he's a good person. And if you heard my story about Fred, you would agree he's a good person.
But can I just say one thing, not to change it from all the, the hearts. Well, I don't want to change it from all the hearts and the kissy faces that you're trying to send to Fred Hoiberg. But let me just say something real quick. I saw some clown. Well, I won't even say. I saw somebody.
Be careful.
I saw somebody who I don't know that is a public figure, I believe, around here. And they said something ridiculous, I thought, on X at the beginning of the game about how Iowa fans who are booing Price Sanford, it's pretty petty.
About Chad.
Who?
Chad Lysacombe?
No, I'm not talking about Chad Lysacombe.
Oh,
I didn't. It's nobody. It's nobody that I know of that covers the Iowa beat. I'm not trying to rip anybody in the Iowa beat. Maybe Chad said that. I don't know. But let me give you my opinion. To shame Iowa fans for booing a kid who transferred out of the yes, I know they fired the head coach, but he left Iowa to play not for another Big Ten school, another Big Ten school that is an Iowa rival. Okay, why would you receive him well? Like I'm not defending anything said personally about him and his. Obviously, there's a line you draw, and by the way, I heard the student section, if they were chanting F Price Sanford, that's wrong. I do not agree with that. I believe it's vulgar. I think it's classist. But booing a kid when he gets the ball, booing him, I have no problem with that. It's gamesmanship. And absolutely, if I was there in the stands as a fan, I would have been booing Price Sanford. Because to me, that's what gamesmanship is when one of your guys leaves to play for a rival program. For a coach, by the way, for a coach who you love, but his coach only for Iowa rivals and played for an Iowa rival.
Again, what you said is you told me this over the weekend. It's not personal. It's the game. It's not Price as is.
Nobody wants Iowa fans to go slash the Sanford's tires.
Exactly. That's what you were saying to me.
But booing again, is that not part of gamesmanship?
Yeah, fair game.
I brought up earlier today on my show with Mark Rogers at the Voice of College Football. I brought up Rajon Rondo because I'm a huge Mavs fan. He had a huge, stupid falling out with the Mavs. He didn't go play for a rival, but because of how he ended his career at Dallas, when he played for Sacramento, I was in the stands at American Airlines Center, and I remember booing him every time he got the ball. It was fun. I don't think he took any effect. I think great athletes recognize it's part of the game. And if you're going to make a move like that, you have to expect some form of repercussions. Now, I didn't need the Big Ten Network showing the Sanford parents every 5 seconds. I didn't need that. I don't know what the point of that is. Now, some people will probably rip me for saying that because, his brother graduated from Iowa and he's a former Hawkeye.
It's awkward.
Do we show other parents? I just think it puts it almost makes the spotlight bigger than it needs to be. Keep it on the player, keep it on the team. Why are we showing the parents? This isn't Caitlin Clark. I have no issue with the booing. I do have an issue with the F blank blank. If you're doing that and you're a student, look, it's mob mentality. I get it. Some people will say, it's part of gamesmanship. I think there should be a line there. But again, I have no issue with the booing.
Yeah, no, and like you said, I mean, if it's not a personal attack, it's fair game. If it's not, you mentioned that over the weekend. And again, he did something to cause the booing. He could have stayed. He could have, done a lot of other things.
He was, and for anybody, by the way, let me just give one more example here. For people that want to bring up the fact that his coach was fired, yes, that happened. However, what you just said is absolutely fair. He could have stayed. Why do we know that? Because Ben McCollum publicly and actively recruited Price Sanford to play for Iowa. He's an Iowa kid who chose to play somewhere else. Think of it this way. If you have a guy like, I don't know, who's the Foster kid that went to Iowa State and then got in trouble and left? Xavier Foster. Or you have a kid like, that's a bad example. I was thinking about the kid that played for Hawkeyes a couple of years ago that ended up going to, where did he end up? Baylor or somewhere. But a kid from, or hey, let's go back in the day and think about a guy like Kirk Heinrich, or give me another good example. Is it Rafe LaFrance.
Right for the friends from
He was
Canada.
Iowa. Hey, guys
Oh,
like
wonderful
that,
one.
or the kid that played for a couple of kids played for North Carolina, whether it be Harrison Barnes or later on the kid that Iowa played. What was his name? The lefty that played in the national title game.
Marcus Page.
Yeah, Page. Thank you. I have no problem with booing a kid like that because guess what? He's an in-state kid that chose to snub Iowa if they recruited him, snub Iowa, and go play somewhere else. Boo him, boo him, boo him. It has nothing to do with the fact that Price transferred out. It's the fact that he actively chose somewhere else that happens to be a rival over Iowa, which happens to be his in-state school. To me, that's part of college basketball, college athletics.
The equivalent to happen to one of our players in a very, very similar situation where they fired his coach was Adam Oleska. When he went to Hilton, they were nasty. Like they said that they actually did make it personal.
Well, I'll tell you what, what's another good example, and this is not a kid who was from that state, but Jared Utoff goes to Wisconsin and all the falling out. I mean, we could have asked Coach Close on that. I'm kind of glad we didn't. He was part of that. Jared Utoff leaves Wisconsin under kind of strange circumstances, ends up at Iowa before tampering was really talked about. I mean, if tampering was talked about, I'm not saying that was blatant tampering, but there was stuff going on there. I guarantee you when Utoff went back to the Kohl Center, if I recall, it's been a while back, that he was booed regularly.
Yeah.
And I don't think Coach Close or Bo Ryan or anybody up there or probably anybody within the Iowa program thinks that that was wrong. Like he actively chose to go to your rival school to play against you.
Yeah.
That's his decision.
Yep. And again, as you kind of mentioned over the weekend, emotions get high. This is just part of the game. And if they need to be able to handle it, if they don't want to play D1 basketball, if you want to play D1 basketball, you want to make those decisions. You want to be a gun for hire. That's what's going to happen. I thought he would stay because of loyalty of, his the loyalty of his brother and all that. There's no loyalty. So
apparently he really had a big. I haven't watched this Journey program that's being aired right now. But apparently he really had a lot of admiration for Fred Hoiberg. But let's be honest, Fred Hoiberg. I don't know because I'm not part of the Sanford family. I didn't know them, but he didn't watch Fred Hoiberg play as a kid, so he would have just observed him at Iowa State, I guess, as the head coach at Iowa State, and he would have been really young when he was at Iowa State. Yeah. So I'm not saying that that's a malarkey story. I'm just saying he apparently had a lot of he had a lot of good vibes about Fred Hoiberg, and like you said, Hoiberg's a good guy, and water under the bridge when he graduates. But until then, when he comes back to Carver, I expect boos, and so be it.
Yeah, and again, as long like you said, keep it class. We don't need a bunch of F-bombs and look like But yeah, say whatever you need, whatever chant, as long as it's not too derogatory. I know freedom of speech. But
was that what they were chanting? Were they chanting that?
F Pate or F Price.
Is that what they were chanting?
Yeah. One of them. They were chanting a couple different things. I don't personally. I think that's where the line gets, drawn. But students are going to be students. I've experienced get an F-bomb at them, so that they're tough enough to take it.
I've experienced it at other places. Up at the barn in Minnesota. I was amazed at the level of hate that they had for Iowa, and there wasn't a situation like that. They just didn't like Iowa. So it does happen.
If I can get back to the game a little bit, I'll try to be quick. Sometimes I get good stuff, sometimes I don't. But think if this game would have been a 35-second shot clock or a 40-second shot clock, we might have been in the 40s.
Nebraska nearly didn't make it to 50 tonight.
Yeah, everyone talks about lick lighter ball. Hey, this wasn't lick lighter ball, but it was slow, and there was not that many possessions. I wish I knew how many possessions there were. 33%. If you had told me that they would have 33% shooting and only 5 assists, I probably would not predict a victory. But again, as I've told people, you might not want to follow some of my predictions, but because I had that Purdue game and I was like, hey, it's 2.5-point spread. I'm like, there's something going on there. But
hey, how about speaking of predictions? How about our guy Kyle Spence over in the Discord, who predicted an Iowa win by 5 earlier today and hit the nail on the head. So congratulations to Kyle, and also credit to Kyle. And I'd like to take a little bit of the credit because I sent the question to him. But hey, he was at the game on Saturday as a media person, and we kind of collaborated on the idea of asking a very specific question to the Bart Torvik numbers that have been tweeted out by some random account on Twitter, and we corroborated the stats. But over that past month, they'd been 160 plus in defensive efficiency. And obviously, Ben is not naive to those. No, he's not naive to the fact that they haven't been great defensively, but he was legitimately surprised when Kyle read that stat off. And boy, they just flipped the script tonight on defense.
That might have been that might have set got the engine going. That might have revved them up a little bit.
Great, phenomenal. Whatever it takes, right?
Again, not jump too far ahead, and people now don't. I don't care about tournament talk anymore too much, but Michigan is looking really good, and I will make this prediction. I think Michigan's will knock off Duke this weekend out in that tournament in DC. So
Michigan's playing Duke this weekend. I didn't even.
I believe so, and it's like 1 versus 3 or 2 versus 3, and I think Michigan will be number 1 when we play them here, and me, my dad, and maybe someone else have a third ticket, and we're gonna go to that game. And I always want to ask Coach if he's gonna be at the game on Saturday, or when they play Wisconsin, Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah, Wisconsin's looking good here lately. They're one of the higher teams in the Big Ten.
It's going to be a tough game. But winning tonight really takes some pressure off.
Yeah.
Because I said it earlier, Doug, they're in. Barring a collapse, I believe they are in. Unless they lose out, I think if they win any one of their remaining games, they're in. Now, people are going to argue with me on that, but I think 10-10 gets them in, especially since 10-10 will include a win at Indiana, a win at Washington, and then today's win over Nebraska.
I just hope they can go up to the Kohl Center and play better than they usually do. We've struggled at the Kohl Center. Also, because I keep on bringing up random things, but it's great to see Aaron White back. Aaron White definitely deserves a lot of credit for helping turn around the program. The year before he came, they had 20-some losses, and he turned them into I think back-to-back years won an NCAA tournament game. So, he really, and the NIT run, deserves a lot of credit. I think he's been passed. I think he's still our 4th leading scorer, or maybe 3rd all-time rebounder. I could be having those way numbers off, but the dude definitely deserves a lot of credit for bringing back the program, probably winning over some of those fans 10, 15 years ago. And it's very happy to see him back. I hope we can bring back more McCaffrey players and, keep the Marble family involved. Keep the, players, even like guys like Adam Oleska, bring them back, Jeff Horner. It'd be nice to see.
Doesn't Adam Oleska live in Iowa City and work at
quite a few of them do.
Yeah.
I mean,
my guess is Holuska's there. We just don't see him, but he's there. But Aaron White's been playing overseas for so long.
Yeah, that's what he said. If you watch any of the stuff the Hawkeye sports people were putting out, and that he just doesn't get a chance. So I always anyone knows me, I'll run up to one of them and can I get a picture or something? They probably get annoyed, but it's always good to see those guys. And we do have some tradition. We might not have national titles and all that, but we have a lot of guys that we can be proud of, I think. And Aaron White's one of them. And I feel good. Now, I don't necessarily feel good going into the Kohl Center, but I feel good about our
enjoy the game. Just enjoy the win tonight. Doug.
Yes, thank you. Yes, enjoy stuff. Don't. Thank you. Enjoy it.
My advice. Enjoy it. All right, folks. Yeah, and James, Omaha, bill you. Hey, James, everybody's wondering where you are in the Discord, so we need you back in the Discord. It's been a while. Chev Yoda brings up, Utah got booed every time he played in Madison. That's how I recall, but I wasn't ever there. Bulls fan 531. Thank you for being a premium member. Same thing with Erica here, REM Properties. She says she just got home from Carver. Could not have picked a better name or a better game, I think is what she meant, for girls' night. Go Hawks. Love seeing the student section packed. And Shane, I didn't see this. You are a premium member on Discord. I would have gotten you the comment, but it didn't pop up in time just because it wasn't a super chat. But do appreciate this question. Why does it seem like Sturts doesn't get those foul calls when attacking the rim? Do the refs just believe he sells it too much? I don't have an answer to. I do think Nebraska does a very good job maintaining verticality, and that's what I would guess Coach would say. But hey, if this is an issue up at the Kohl Center and we get Coach on Sunday, maybe he'll have a different tune for us. Go Hawks from DGen Gambler 6871. So thank you for that super chat, ma'am or sir. We appreciate that. And there's a couple other comments, but I don't see any more super chats, so we'll hold off on those for now. And Cub Hawk says, "You're wrong, Corey. Cussing goes hand in hand with being a good student section." Well, I guess, I'm not an expert in that regard. I'm just going by my personal feelings on it. So, but could have done without it, but it is what it is. Don't blame him for booing, as I said. All right, let's go back. We got a bunch of people piled up in the queue on the phone. We got Kirk on the line. Kirk, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, first thing, you can hear me fine?
We got you. Yep.
Okay. Never done this before. StreamYard is really easy, it turns out.
It is. Thank you for endorsing it. It's a very easy way. People don't realize how easy it is to call in with StreamYard.
Yeah. Click on a link, click on Google, done. Yep. Love the shows, by the way, Corey.
Thank you.
I've been kind of a lurking, just haven't done any participation yet, but the shows are great.
Thank you.
Two things. One, it seemed like maybe some guys were scared to shoot tonight in terms of passing up too often. I don't know. It just seems like or maybe that's the
who specifically? Can you name anybody specifically, and I'll give you an explanation.
Probably either Tate or Isaiah. Probably. Like, okay.
Well,
they look like they're.
I would just say Isaiah Howard's in general been struggling. Now he made a 3 tonight, and hopefully that gets him going. I thought you were going to say Kale. Kale's obviously struggling. We've talked about him, and he's got to figure a way out of that. But I mean, like Gary said, like everybody's been struggling besides Bennett. Like even Tavion. And the problem with Tavion is he's got this ankle thing that's probably not going away. So, yeah, I hope that 3 that Isaiah Howard hit in that second half gets him going, because he made some of those early in the year. Tate Sage, he seems like just the other day he had that big game. Was it at home against like Rutgers or someone? I think it was at home against Rutgers maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So I do think there's some hesitancy, and it's a combination in my mind, Kirk, between how Iowa runs its offense. They're very predicated on getting Bennett Sturts the ball and the ball moving. And so when guys don't have confidence, they lose confidence as shooters. The natural safe thing is, okay, I'm gonna pass, because that's usually the best thing to do anyways, but I'm certainly not going to break that chain effect and jack a shot that I don't feel confident in taking. If that's my theory on the situation right now with some of those guys in their headspace.
Yeah, that's it. And maybe partially it was such a big game, maybe that's in their head too. It's just, I was kind of hard to watch near the end, just watching Cook come up, set a couple of screens that are, just running 10 seconds off the clock, and just for no reason, it seemed like.
No, I agree with you. And late game offense, that's my next question for McCollum. Is he satisfied with his late game offense? Because this isn't just like you brought up the good team thing. Yes, there's a good team and a big game, but the late game issues offensively, even when they have closed some games out, they often do it in spite of their offense in the last minute or two, not because of it. So that's something that down the stretch, because I know it's all runs through Sturts, and like Gary said, hey, maybe you're comfortable living and dying by Sturts, but you got to have. It just feels like it's been really hard to get points in the last couple minutes of games.
And the other thing I'll just ask, like big picture kind of like, and whether this has ever been broached as a topic, you would think a team that struggles so much in the half court would maybe turn their defense into offense more often. But it feels like even when they get a turn, it's like, give it to Bennett. Let's all walk down there. And it seems like partially, the coach wants to, make sure they're running exactly what he wants them to run. But I don't know. You'd think they'd be looking for some easy baskets with as much.
Yeah, I mean, they had the one where Sturts jumped the pass, and then
Right. It was in his hands already. Right.
And so on live ball turnovers like that, they're going to go. But I do think they're very much, unless they definitely have numbers. And they also have, let's be honest, we've talked about them struggling to finish around the rim. So, you have a situation where you have guys that probably have lost some confidence shooting the basketball, but you also have guys that, especially after what happened against Purdue and just struggles around the rim in general this year, they may even struggle confidence-wise near the rim. And so the natural tendency is, okay, let's slow it down and set up the offense with Bennett.
Yeah, I guess I'd be curious to hear if Ben has ever been asked about, like, hey, what are you looking for more chances to get out and run or anything like that? But anyway, great shows and a great win. So
absolutely appreciate you calling in, sir. Yeah, good stuff. We've had a number of new callers tonight, so appreciate everybody. And yeah, I do think my guess is, again, have not had a conversation, sit down with Ben about that specifically, but my guess is Ben would attest to the notion that we just don't have the bodies this year to where we feel comfortable pushing the pace. I mean, he talked about this at Drake, right? And he brought a lot of his guys over from Drake. They played very slow last year. That's not who he necessarily wants to be. They want to be efficient, play fast when they can, and I'm sure they would like to play a little faster. Now, how much faster? It's not going to look like Fran's teams. We'll have to wait and see. They need more weapons offensively. I know it's a cliche and simple thing to say, but they need more weapons, and they'll get those next year. I'm confident in that. They'll get some via recruiting out of the high school ranks, but they'll also get some out of the portal. All right, let's see. We've got our phone. Let's see. I got a caller on the phone line. We got Jace, Cody, and Tony. Let's go to our caller on the phone. Thank you for calling Iowa Postgame with Coach Gary Close. Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Chris in Wyoming.
Hey, Chris.
So I got to mute my TV just a sec.
Sure.
Okay. So I want to weigh in on the booing.
Yes.
I'm all for it. And I think there should be hissing as well. I think that is better than dropping the F-bomb. That's just my opinion.
Should we allow pitchforks and torches into the stadium or into the arena under certain circumstances?
Well,
maybe.
I got to think about that. I think we don't want to kill them.
No. And you know how people are with social media, that could get out of control. But no, I stated my piece on that, Chris. But I absolutely agree. I just, as long as it's within certain boundaries, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't like the F word. That's just me. But I remember. I mean, we used to chant "bull." That was the chant. That was as scaring as we got.
That's not directly at someone. I think normally when students chant that, and I'm not defending vulgar language. I'm just simply saying when they're chanting that, I think it's more often in response to a call that they didn't like.
Yeah, we're directed at the ref.
Yes.
So, but I did see part of the journey, and the Hoiberg and Price connection goes way back. I mean, those kids were going to Hoiberg's basketball camps when they were in grade school, so you can kind of see that. But I don't know. I think it.
Yeah, real quick. There's nothing.
We sure could use him.
They sure could use him, and there's nothing morally or ethically wrong with what he did, but it has every right to tick Iowa fans off. That's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, I got a lot of respect for Fred Hoiberg. I don't like anybody as long as he's coaching against Iowa, I have extra reason to not like the dude. He played for Iowa State. He coached for Iowa State. He coaches for Nebraska. His son is a little pest. All right. He's a good basketball player. He's a little pest. There's reason to not like them. They're also Nebraska. They're a rival school.
Right. 100% on board, for that, even though I only live 20 miles from Nebraska, but they know where I stand. So anyway, yeah. And Iowa State, I don't pay attention to them. I'm just a Hawk fan. But I want to say one thing about looking at the box scores that concerns me, and I wanted to see what you think of it.
Okay.
I first of all, we won the game, I think, because of our defense. I'm really impressed with our defense tonight. But look at the box score and look at the assists. Total team assists 5. That bothers me.
Well, it should bother you. I mean, to some extent. Obviously, they're not scoring enough. I mean, it's going to be hard to win games consistently when you score 57. So I think, that's obviously they got to get more production out of people other than Sturts. Now, this is something that after that Purdue game, that was a common. I know the narrative during Ben's Zoom press conference, which I was able to be a part of earlier this week, was not only the defense, but also how can you get other guys going? It seems like it's very Sturts-centric. So that's been a common question, but a big part of the issue in the last month has been defense. That seemed to get fixed tonight. Now, it's one game. Yes. It's a small sample size. Let's take that victory. And, hey, we're mid-February, Chris. They got to figure out to get guys going offensively. And when you get other guys going offensively, you get confidence up. You're going to have somebody on the stat sheet with more than 2 assists, but they didn't tonight. They had Sturts with 2. No. Everybody else had either 0 or 1 assist. Yes, it's got to be better. As long as Cale Combs is struggling, though, they don't really have other guys that are going to handle the ball much. That's why Combs, I thought early on in the year, was so central to what Iowa was doing offensively, as efficient as they were, because he was a steady Eddie at point guard, especially when Sturts needed to move off the ball. And right now, he's still playing a lot, but he's dealing with an injury, according to Ben, and once again was struggling tonight on the offensive end. 1 for 3 from the field, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. You'd like him to be giving you at least 3 or 4 assists a game. That will help. And, I mean, you'd like to get a few out of Banks. You'd like to get a couple out of Isaiah Howard, who's going to have the ball in his hands some. Fulgaris is an excellent passer. He should get more than 1. So those things will happen, though. But I think confidence is one of those things that you just have to see the ball go in at times, and that will breed more assists naturally.
Okay, I just wanted to see what you thought of it, because I looked at that and I think that doesn't look right.
No, it doesn't. And especially 5 assists, 5 assists to 12 turnovers. You're normally not going to win when you're -7 in that stat. Yeah.
Anyway, it was fun to watch them win, and not defeat themselves in the last 5 minutes. They pulled it out, so I'm happy about that. And that's all I got to say, Corey. So, Chris, and a belated happy birthday. I hear it was your birthday.
Thank you. Yep. I'm 30 now. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it. So,
it's all downhill from there.
I heard that after I turned 21. So thanks for calling in, Chris. We'll talk to you Thursday night.
Okay. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you. All right. Iowa defeating number 9 Nebraska 57-50. Retro Ron. Hey, can you go through the Iowa basketball schedule, project wins and losses? If we go 2-3, where does that leave our Big Ten record? So let's do that real quick. I got the schedule up, then we'll go to our next caller. So at Wisconsin, top 25 Wisconsin team Sunday, 3 p.m. Central Time, FS1. It's going to be a busy Sunday because the women play earlier in the day. Ohio State the following Wednesday. That game's back in Carver. Another late tip for all you old people. At Penn State on that Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time, and then they get a bit of a break. They don't play until the following Thursday on senior night against Michigan, which is 7 p.m. Peacock, and then the season finale at Nebraska that following Sunday, 4 o'clock Central Time, Central Daylight Time, because the clocks will shift that day. That game will be on Fox. So, in answer to your question, Retro Ron, they go 2-3, then I guess do the math on that. They'll be 11-9, right? They got 9 wins now in the league. Are you asking? I don't know if he's at. They'll be 11-9. Okay. Now, as far as where they'll end up on the seed lines, my guess is when the new. I know Mike DeCourcy of Fox Sports. He has Iowa as a 9 seed now. A lot of the other bracketologists still have Iowa as an 8. I don't think this will move Iowa up to the 7 line by basically anybody's metrics, but it should lead Iowa to being solidly on the 8 My guess is DeCourcy, if he looked at this tomorrow morning, would move them back or up to 8. All the other people, right? Lunardi, Mast, our friend Tim Kruger over. I need to get Tim back on here over at Blue Jay Banner, who does the brackets. My guess is most people would have him as on the 8 line. As I've said, Retro Ron, I don't believe this team is in any danger of missing the tournament unless they lose out. So they could lose at Wisconsin. They could lose against Ohio State. They could lose against Nebraska. They could lose against Michigan. I think they'd still be in with a win at Penn State. Now, that's going to make some people nervous, but I think they'd probably be somewhere in the 10 to 11 line. If they end up losing out, yes, we're going to be very nervous and maybe dependent on some Big Ten tournament success. So win 2 more of these games, you're 2-3, Ron, you're in with flying colors. I believe if you could go 3-2 or, boy, go 4-1, how could you imagine? That's going to be hard to do, right? But if you 3-2 is a little bit more realistic, you go 3-2, maybe you can get to that 7 line and avoid playing a 1 in the second round. I think that's probably best case scenario. Maybe some Big Ten tournament noise gets you up to a 6. But again, I'm being eternally optimistic here. So great question, Ron. We'll continue to look at the resume moving forward. Let's go to Jace, who's been on hold for quite some time. Jace, welcome.
How's it going, Corey?
It's going good, man. Appreciate you calling in. I may not seem as excited as I really am internally, but I was pretty authentically pumped at the end of that game.
I was happy.
I can't remember the last time I wanted Iowa to win as badly as I did tonight.
Well, I made the 5-hour drive to Iowa City on Saturday, so
I did make a 5-hour drive, but I drove about 5 hours on Saturday to get to Iowa City and back. So I understand to some extent.
Yeah, it was needed the win.
Definitely. Yeah.
But
especially
I have a couple things actually before we get into the game.
Okay.
Fred Hoiberg punched a fan on the storming the court.
What?
Slapped a fan, punched him, whatever you want to call it. Do you follow Barstool Iowa on Instagram?
What are you Fred Hoiberg punched a fan? Hold on.
Slapped him, punched him. It's on Barstool Iowa's Instagram page.
Holy cow. Okay. So let's real quick. I just can we confirm that this is not AI?
It did not look AI to me.
All right. So this is
I think they were ambushing Price, hollering at Price the clip before, and then if you swipe over.
No, I'm seeing this on a let's just go. There's the first thing that popped up. So for people that are watching this is Jace just led me onto this from somebody on Twitter. See, this is an AI picture, but here's the video from this random Iowa account.
Yeah, that's the video I saw on Iowa's.
Okay, so here's what we're looking at here, and I'm going to turn the sound off, but hopefully everybody can see the video. And this just posted here a little bit ago. This is what you're talking about there in the handshake line. Yeah. I mean, obviously that looks like a swipe at whoever it was. Now, I don't know why this fan is coming in from, it looks like the scores table. Why is the fan, is he crawling over the scores table or is he going around the scores table?
I think he's climbing over the scores table. He might have slipped in right between the last bench seat and the scores table there, but
well, I can see why I can see why Fred's frustrated by that situation if he's doing that.
You couldn't really understand in the video, but it sounded like he said Price got clipped or whatever the student did.
Say that the student said what?
Price got clipped.
Okay.
Whatever that means.
Okay. Could you hear that, Jace?
No, I could not.
All right, let's see if we can get audio on that. Yeah, this is doing this just on the fly, so bear with me, folks.
No, you're good.
Yeah, let's see if we can get the audio on this video. Could you hear that the audio that time?
I heard it. I couldn't understand it.
Yeah, something Price got something, right?
Yes.
Now, it doesn't appear that the fan got knocked physically. It looks more like Fred hit his phone.
Yes.
It doesn't look like Fred. Yeah. That's some crazy stuff. And then you see in Iowa, assistant coach getting in between Fred. This is going to be interesting to see how the Big Ten handles this, because I don't know. This is, again, I'm just reacting to this on the fly. I don't know that you can simply overlook that.
No, I don't think you can.
I think he's probably going to face at least a fine, if not a suspension. That's pretty serious. I mean, you have to take. Here's the deal. Let's not forget what happened a couple of years ago with Juwan Howard and the Wisconsin assistant. And I know that's between two teams, but there's already been a lot of tension and events that occur in the Big Ten and handshake lines. And I reflect on what happened up in Detroit between the Pacers and the Pistons. And I know that's like the pinnacle of fan versus player, or in this case, a coach, what bad can happen in those settings. But that's why I think you have to take stuff like this so seriously. You can't have, is it right for a student to jump and get no, but you cannot retaliate physically. And I'm certainly not trying to cast aspersions on Fred Hoiberg. I mean, I get it. It's emotional. You're in the moment. He didn't hit him. It looked like he hit the phone. But I think you have to respond to this if you're the league.
Well, it'll be interesting if Iowa gets a fine as well, because I know there's storming the court policies now, aren't there? Or even fines?
There are. Yeah. I don't know that those get enforced, and I don't know that you just choose to enforce them because Fred Hoiberg took a swipe at somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's as Hoiberg, somebody's going to say something to you.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if anybody in the media caught that and asked Fred about it postgame.
And then my other thing is Wisconsin got beat by 18 on the road at Ohio State tonight.
Say that one more time.
Wisconsin got beat by 18 on the road tonight in Ohio.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I mean, look at what happened with Purdue. I mean, I know the score didn't indicate it. It was a big time game, but they got dispatched handily.
Yes. That Michigan game, when they come to town, I'm trying not to overreact what I think the outcome will be. It will be interesting.
Absolutely.
But then, yeah, I thought our defense was great, but I thought the transition defense was excellent.
Yeah, it was. I mean, every facet defensively. I think there was a brief stretch there in the second half where they let Mast get a little bit. First of all, Nebraska started rebounding the ball better in that second half. I think that was a big part of it. But boy, down the stretch, first half and then latter half of the second, they were so good, not just in transition, but defending the rim, hitting on the glass, as Gary talked about, not allowing dribble penetration, which opens up so much in the way of three-point shooting and getting to the foul line. I think just collectively, defensively, they were phenomenal.
No, absolutely. And I think in the offensively, we didn't shoot the ball. We shot the ball like we did the last two games, but I think the offense was better early when Cooper was shooting the ball. Alvaro was good when he was in. And I think Cam was really good, but the stat sheet won't say that. How he played.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to get that every night. You're just never going to get a stat sheet that reflects Cam Manio's production, but he gives you defense. He's fighting on the glass. He makes smart plays. He's really good in the pick and roll with Bennett, although he's not necessarily a big weapon. They'd like for him to be more of a weapon on the roll, but no, he is really good at what he does in this system. He's really got chemistry with Bennett.
He can switch on to a Hoiberg or a Sanford and guard him. I mean, he's probably not going to get a stop every time, but he can win a possession or two. And he did. The game that sticks out for him too was that Indiana game when we were switching ball screens on that Wilkerson, and he was the one that was guarding Wilkerson pretty much 20 seconds of that possession.
Right. Yeah, that's the great thing about this system is, in general, the guys who are Ben guys, Alvaro's not yet a Ben guy, even though he's here. The guys who have been with Ben for at least a year or two, they can defend multiple positions. Tavion's the best example of that, of course. He can guard point guards and he can guard fives.
Yeah, absolutely. And Banks was really good tonight. Yeah, I think the offense wasn't good, but I think a win like this will help the offense confidence-wise, because you could probably point that out as the main issue with the ball sticking on Sturts. I mean, it happened again tonight. It felt like the last 6 minutes. It was you kick it to Koch or whoever was open in the corner, but then they just immediately pass it right back to him if they didn't have a wide open three, which, I mean, that's going to happen with younger guys or guys like an Isaiah Howard that's not going to shoot 4 threes a game.
And I know we're getting late in the year, and so you're running out of time to fix some of these things, but they appeared to fix a lot of their defensive issues tonight. And so you'd rather have tape after a win than tape after a loss.
Yes, and I think we match up. Nebraska is probably one of the best teams we match up with.
Yeah,
in the Big Ten, because they're not.
It's going to be real tough to beat them in that building. My guess is that's senior day for Nebraska as well. So that's it's going to be really hard to beat them in that building. But I agree.
Yeah, it would be. I hope it's low scoring like that. I think that's how we need a game. Like when we play Nebraska, it needs to be low scoring, and that's how it might have to be the rest of the year.
Yeah.
No, all right, I know you have a couple callers on. All right, so I'll hop off.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Rick is in our chat. He says, hugged most of the players. Great time for sure. Just got home. That is why you buy the tickets. Bleed old gold and blue. Gary Close is not here. He was. You must have missed him earlier, but the show is still called Iowa Postgame with Coach Gary Close, even when he's not here. Okay. I hate to break it to you, but that's the reality of it. B. Rant says, it doesn't seem like McCollum empowers his players outside of Sturts to be aggressive on offense. Do you think that will be an issue with recruiting high-level scorers to play for our program? Well, I think they're dependent on Sturts because they don't have the personnel. I mean, I know, first of all, Sturts is a lottery pick. So when you have a lottery pick, yeah, I mean, when Luka Doncic is playing for you, Luka Doncic is going to demand the ball a lot. But you have better guys around him, it makes you more lethal. And yeah, maybe that drives away some people from wanting to play for you, but I don't think that's a problem that you have an issue dealing with, if that makes sense. All right. Let's see. We've got Tony with us. Tony!
Hey, there's 2 other views of that on X. Okay. The Fred Hoiberg.
You were going to come on here and start.
Well,
ripping on Fred.
No. I'm not ripping on Fred. I was at the game, first of all. Okay,
you were there.
That.
You were there. You're back in the hotel.
Yeah. No, I was at the game. I was literally right next to the student section, so I hopped in late, so I didn't hear whatever your take was on the students and their performance tonight.
I was just what I just said was I have no problem with booing. I don't like the vulgar nature of F this and F that. I think it's classless, but you know what? Students are going to be students and I can't control them. I have no issue with booing. And as far as the players are concerned, Tony, great win, great defense. You'll hear what Coach had to say. But I just want to real quickly, we'll get that video in here as well. But if people missed it just a few minutes ago, we shared this video that is
there's a better view of it.
Yeah, so here's the initial video that appears to show Fred Hoiberg taking a swipe at a fan's. We don't know if this is a student or just a fan. It could easily be a student, but it does appear that Fred takes a swing, maybe not at the person, but at the camera. He looks straight at the camera and then appears to swing at it. And again, I believe the Big Ten will take action on this. I just think you have to. Now, to what extent, I don't know. Tony, are you going to be sending me video? Is that what you're...
Well, I was going to tell you the username to search for on X. That's literally, he was probably... this looks like 8 rows up, and it's a straight-on view. Like, you can see exactly the full, better picture. It's C as in Charlie, R as in Richard, T as in Tony, F as in Frank, D as in dog, and then it's ball knower. Certified ball knower. It's a legit video. I'm dead serious. Yeah,
I got it. Okay, so
this was like a 6-second clip.
Yeah, and it appears that does this video? Let's see if we can get Twitter to work properly. Does this video only have 1 like? Yeah, so we'll go here and see if we can get. I don't know what's gonna. Let's see here. All right, so here's the video of the. It looks like this is the fan, bottom left. You see that person that has the hand on the back of a fan, and he's literally crawling not over the scores table.
No, that's a bench. Yeah, he's trying to court
Here's the
storm.
scores table right by the Iowa bench. Here's the video. Yeah, I mean, again, I think that has to be addressed.
Yeah.
First of all, let me just say something. In defense of the student, is that stupid what he's doing? Yes. So I believe it was, Tony, it was, here's an old sitcom name drop. I believe it was Brad Garrett, who played Robert in Everybody Loves Raymond, that once said, I hate to agree with a moron, but I have to go with Raymond on this one. I hate to agree with an idiot who's running out and into that's just stupid on the part of that individual, whether he's a student or not. It's just stupid that he did that. But at the same time, I just want to say that Fred Hoiberg has to know better than that.
Yeah.
And it's just a good thing that it didn't continue and get worse. And credit to those Iowa staffers for jumping between. And it looks like, actually, let's watch this again.
No.
Let's watch this again. Does Fred Hoiberg make contact with the back of an Iowa assistant's head? Watch this again. Boom, right there. Does he make contact with that assistant's head?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. And so he's apologizing. It looks like Fred apologizes to that assistant. You see what I'm seeing here, Tony?
Yeah. No.
It looks like Fred then pulls that assistant back to apologize to him. But see, that can't – listen, I understand emotions, but that you cannot react.
No.
You cannot react because think about this. What if that assistant coach didn't have a cool head on this?
Yeah.
Or if one of his players saw his coach get smacked in the back of his head and he comes in here and levels Fred Hoiberg. I mean, imagine what this could have turned into, and you have thousands of students on the court.
Yeah. That could have been way worse of a situation.
It has to be addressed, and it should be addressed from multiple angles because you can't have a student running out of the court or whoever this is. But Fred Hoiberg has to get a suspension out of this.
Yeah, this just shows that I just want to let you have a more, wide angle view to see that,
Yeah, I appreciate
the whole
that.
picture.
And did you say there's another video somewhere?
Yeah, Madison. What's that new female reporter's name for the Gazette that took over?
Madison, is it Harsick?
Yeah. She has like a minute video of the whole court storm, and then it kind of shows it from a more zoomed out. But hers takes about 40 seconds to get to the actual incident, or however you want to call it.
And we're not really going to see anything a whole lot different.
No, because her view is about the same as.
I'll go ahead and share it just so people can see what we're talking about. So again, this is what appears to be video of Fred Hoiberg swiping at a fan's camera and then potentially making contact with the back of an Iowa assistant's head inadvertently by way of the incident. So here's Fred shaking Ben McCollum's hand, and Ben is way past the play or past the incident when this occurs. Here comes this fan right here, bottom of the screen. He gets the phone up. Fred Hoiberg swings, makes contact with the back of an Iowa assistant's head. It looks like Fred is explaining to the Iowa assistant that I'm extrapolating here, but it looks like he apologizes and explaining what happens. But nothing else happens. Fred just walks off the court, and nothing else happens. I mean, was this fan?
That could have been.
Let's see if we can track this fan, where this fan ended up after he got swiped at, because you couldn't tell in the other view here, Tony. Let's see if we
He
can
probably
see.
ended up in the court storm.
Yeah, but I'm just curious if a police officer or anybody saw it. Obviously they didn't do anything to Fred, but it looks like, then he gets his arms up. I see the student with his arms up. He's running the other side. Yeah, he gets mixed up into the crowd there. Yeah. I mean, it just, like I said, I sound like a broken record.
Yeah,
the Big Ten has to deal with that. It just you cannot have that with the situation. Like you said, it could have ended so much worse. And if you can figure out who that student is, look, you can figure out who. I'm not saying what he did was some felonious thing, but if you can figure out who the student is, maybe you look at doing something there as well. But Fred, cooler heads have to prevail there if you're a player or a coach, as frustrating as it may be.
I'm assuming you named Bennett the MVP.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 22 points, 25 points, 8 of 22 from the field, 7 of 7 from the line. But as Sean Morris talked about during the broadcast, it was his defense, his ball denial of Price Sanford, his effort. He had a couple of big blocks in that second half. And this team lives and dies by Bennett Sturts, so hard to go anywhere else.
I was going to nominate the fans. This is the most engaged. This is the most engaged, and it did not feel like, and Kyle has brought this up before, they did not feel reactionary. It felt like they were getting loud at the proper times and moments tonight.
I think the Price and Nebraska thing helped. I wasn't there.
I'm not going to dispute that.
That was my guess is it'll be a little bit harder to get up for the Ohio State game, which is also
100%.
a weeknight game.
Yep.
I believe late in the evening.
And also, it may not have came across, but there was about 3 or 4 times, this may not have came across on TV, but there's 3 or 4 times where Nebraska fans were trying to get a chant going, and then the Iowa fans just drowned them out. So, they almost helped get the crowd involved, Nebraska. There was a smattering, I'd say it might be 15% was Nebraska fans. They had a decent contingency there.
Michael says, guys, imagine if the guy with the camera comes on the show.
Yeah.
By the way, can I just say this? Ryan is correct. Whether you want to say it's making a mountain out of a molehill, what Fred Hoiberg did that is assault. Yep. I mean, absolutely is assault. But
I mean,
I don't know. Look, and here's the other issue I have as somebody that works in the media, and I've worked in a couple of different forms of the media, not just here talking behind a mic. Again, was it stupid on the part of the fan to do that? Yes. Was he a media person? No. But the premise and the principle behind it is if somebody has a camera up, okay, that does not give you the right to swipe at their camera, even if they're saying derogatory things towards you. And it doesn't appear that fan really was. No. It does not give you the right to try to swipe at their camera, take their camera, swipe at them. He's on the phone, leave him alone. It doesn't give you the right to do that. So, I mean, I don't know what the league has to do something about it. I don't know were there ever criminal charges with the Juwan Howard Krabenhoff thing? I don't think there were.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
But the other thing I want to point out with it is the guy was more than an arm length away from Fred. Fred had to kind of lean in and
he wasn't even in his face. I don't want to hear this stuff about personal space. He was in the line, which was stupid. He should not have been there. It's a court storm, and it happens. He was not in your face. He was not a threat to you. You can't swipe.
Nope. Yep. But no, I just wanted to come on and say, I think the crowd did an amazing job. Now, they probably won't be up for Ohio State, unfortunately. I think they'll be up for Michigan. They should be up for that game.
Yeah.
And I will be. I have not lost a game that I've been at live.
Okay. All right. Let's keep that going.
I saw Ohio State and Michigan tickets. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
Everybody in the chat is saying that all that was said was "nice game, buddy." I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
but if that's what was said, then that's even worse because that's very
soft. Yeah, that's nothing compared to, I'm sorry, that's nothing compared to what the crowd was saying. Like I said, I was sitting right next to the student section. They were students. I'll just say that much. Tonight, they were students.
Yeah, and M. Finn says no one is getting suspended. Okay. I don't know how if he doesn't get suspended, then he should get criminally charged. I'm not for ignoring something that happens just because he's a public figure.
Correct.
I'm not going to get into that big debate here, but Juwan Howard should have gotten criminally charged. Fred Hoiberg should get criminally charged. Maybe you look at that's probably how you prevent these things from happening in the future is you make it clear that if you do stupid things, you do stupid things when stupid prizes. So I we'll see.
I think the thing is if you do nothing, like if the league does nothing, okay, that sets a horrible precedent as well. Because then coaches are like, well, nothing happened to him. Next time a fan gets in my,
and like I said, how could that have gone bad?
Oh, a million ways to Sunday. Like like in that type of situation where there's just chaos all over. I don't want to say, I think you said it. I don't want to say malice at the palace. You remember that being an NBA guy.
I brought that up a few minutes ago, and that was a situation that we have students on the court
who've been having $3 beers all night
after the game.
Yeah.
And by the way, the guy who's swinging has a heart problem. He's got a heart problem, and he's. I mean, you can't. And you have the whole situation with Price, and I mean, no, it's already a rivalry. We don't need that in February. Okay, we don't need that anytime, but especially not right now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take over the show with all that stuff.
No,
I mean, it was.
There's nobody else.
And I know
online.
I thought there was other people waiting.
Bulls fan says you're overreacting. A person who was not authorized to be in the court ran up with Hoiberg. He's not getting suspended. Okay, he should get criminally charged. The person who ran out in the court, and I like Hoiberg, but the person who ran out on the court did nothing from a legal standpoint that means it's okay for Hoiberg to swing and make contact with his phone. And, oh, by the way, hits an Iowa coach inadvertently. So
I mean, like you said, there's so many different ways. Like that student could have came back at him. The Iowa assistant could have came back at him. Any player.
I think the more likely scenario is a player sees an Iowa. I'm not saying that's the culture of Iowa, but an Iowa player sees his coach get hit in the head for doing nothing, and he comes in and shoves or punches somebody, and then it's a brouhaha.
Yep.
It's chaos at Carver at that point, right? It's not malice at the palace; it's chaos at Carver.
Yeah, no, 100%.
People are throwing Carver cones around, and Tony's in the middle of it. So, anyways,
I was at the opposite end of the court. I did post a video on X that was about a minute and a half where I was court level and showed my view of the court storm.
Yeah.
So I was on court. It filled up the whole court. It was, and I think I don't know if you were in the Discord chat or getting ready for the show, but you could see, and I said it, the court storm's happening. This is about with 45 seconds left. You could see the students going towards the court. Like they were all dispersing into the aisles, and they were like, there's nothing that was going to stop them.
Real quick, I just want to say, Linda brings up the fouls on Bennett that weren't called, cheap fouls called, and I disagree with Corey. When did I ever say any? I don't know what she's disagreeing with. And I complimented Linda earlier in the show, so I guess love hate, right? I'm not saying that Bennett Sturts always gets a fair whistle. I'm simply saying I think Nebraska does do a good job with verticality, and Sturts does sell fouls. That's good. That's smart. Even Coach Close said that. That's all I'm saying. Now, one other thing I wanted to bring up. He is our player of the game. Big Grove's big play of the game. Do you want to guess what it was, Tony?
The whole game was a blur to me. I'm sorry. I had so much fun.
His pump fake and
the foul the three. Yep. Against Hoiberg.
Back up 6. Put them up 6. There was 50-47. He pump fakes, ends up putting them up by 6 with 36 seconds to go in the second quarter. That was ultimately all she wrote. Big Grove's big play of the game, and I'm guessing there were plenty of Easy Eddies. They were not giving out Easy Eddies as $3 beers tonight. Because I'd have been there for that, Tony.
They were not. It was funny because I was at the gate before the gate opened because I got there as soon as I could get there, and there's students behind me talking about the math. They're like, "Well, I really like tall boys, but the tall boys are $8, and the beers are $3, but they're really small." And I was explaining to them the math of it's better to get the $3 beer than to get the one. But it's just fun, I mean, that's how college kids think. So it's just funny.
Before we did have Cody on here, and Cody, I was going to get to you next, but he must have had to log off. So this is an amazing stat. Iowa shot 33% from the field, 26% from 3, but 94% from the foul line. But think about that: 33% from the field, 26% from 3. And oh, by the way, they turned the ball over 12 times and only had 5 assists. And yet they won. Why? They were plus 13 on the glass. They held Nebraska 41% from the field and 21% from 3. And they turned Nebraska over 12 times. So they broke even on turnovers. And nobody on the Husker roster scored more than 13 points, and that was Price Sanford, who finished 2 of 6. 2 of 6 and 3 of 7 overall. 2 of 6 from 3. And Iowa got 13 points off turnovers to Nebraska's 3. Major difference in this game, but it all started on the defensive end.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, I was going to, you were going over the stats, and I was wondering what the rebound margin was and what did Nebraska shoot from 3. And they made it a point very early to get up in the Nebraska offensive player space to not get in rhythm from 3. Like that was definitely in the scout. Like, and there was a lot of backdoor action from Nebraska. Like it wasn't just screen and go. I mean, they had multiple different reads, whether it was peel off the screen and take a 3 or cut backdoor. And Iowa just did an amazing job, I think, on defense. Like,
yes,
I don't know how well that showed up on the TV, but it was amazing to see in person. Like,
and I will say this, the caveat is Nebraska does not have the speed in the backcourt.
No.
That even Maryland has. And that's crazy to say because Maryland's crap and Nebraska's great. But matchup wise, this Iowa team might be somewhat dependent on matchups in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and that's why I always said leading up to this Nebraska game, I'm like, we match up very well with them. There's other teams they're going to beat that we can't beat, but like a Maryland and stuff like that. But we match up very well with Nebraska. Like they're not going to out athlete us, like you said. They're just not going to. They don't have those athletes. But it's going to be nice to get some rest, and I think they win 2 more. Probably, it's going to be tough to get a third one.
So you think Ohio State and the Penn State?
Penn State, yeah.
What do you think the score will be up in Madison this weekend?
Good, obviously.
Say it again.
I'm sorry. Michigan looks really good. Like that's going to be a tall task.
What's going to be the score up in Madison this weekend?
Probably like Iowa 67, Wisconsin 78.
They can win that game, Tony.
Oh, they can.
I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying I wouldn't predict a double-digit loss. I know they may lose up it's on the road and it's a weekend game. I'm sure it'll be packed, but I don't think they match up poorly against Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't have great speed in the backcourt either. We may have lost Tony. Tony, either we lost Tony or he's just mad at me because he froze. Okay. Well, there it was. Shout out to the fans. Rick Mave, this game had a villain. The fans were loud. Absolutely. Final count, 57-52. The Hawkeyes grinding one out against the top 10 Husker team. And what better team to beat than a rival team with a rival player in Price Sandfort. So credit to everybody that was there and helped this thing along. Folks, I will be back with you on Thursday talking Iowa-Purdue women's basketball with Kasheen Alexander. Cash Money will be with us talking about Hawkeye hoops in West Lafayette. That game will be on Big Ten Plus to tip off at 6 p.m. Central Time. And then the men will be back in action at Wisconsin Sunday to 3 p.m. Central Time, FS1. For Coach Gary Close, all of our great callers, please join our Discord. If you haven't yet, I'll throw the instructions up across the bottom of your screen. Very simple. Just donate via PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. $5 a month or $50 for a year. Please like this video on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Donate to the show. Support our sponsors. We appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you soon.